Have you ever wondered how pilots know their speed in the air? Today, we're going to discover the marvel of airspeed indicators, a crucial instrument in the cockpit. These nifty devices measure the plane's speed relative to the surrounding air, but it's not as simple as it sounds. There's indicated airspeed, calibrated airspeed, equivalent airspeed, true airspeed, and ground speed to consider. Each has its unique purpose and calculation. Keep watching as we unravel the mystery of airspeed. Our journey through airspeed begins with indicated airspeed, or IAAS. Now, what exactly is IAAS? It's the speed that's shown directly on the aircraft's airspeed indicator. Simple, right? But how do we get this measurement? That's where the aircraft's pitot static system comes into play. This system, consisting of a pitot tube and static port, measures the dynamic pressure of the incoming air, which is then translated into speed. The IAAS is the most basic form of airspeed, providing the raw, unadjusted speed at which the aircraft is moving through the air. However, it's important to remember that this speed is not corrected for altitude or temperature variations, and it doesn't account for wind speed and direction either. In essence, IAAS is like the raw dough in the baking process of understanding airspeed. IAAS is the raw, unadjusted speed, but it's just the beginning of our airspeed journey. Next up, we have calibrated airspeed, also known as CAS. This is the speedometer reading adjusted for the aircraft's installation error and the instrument error. Think of it as a more refined version of the indicated airspeed. So how does this work? Well, the aircraft's pitot tube, which measures airspeed, might not always be pointed directly into the airflow. This can lead to discrepancies in the measurements, what we refer to as installation errors. Additionally, the instrument that interprets this data may not be perfectly accurate due to manufacturing imperfections, hence the instrument errors. By correcting for these, we get the calibrated airspeed, a more accurate reflection of the plane's speed through the air. But remember, it still doesn't account for changes in air density or wind speed. CAS gives us a better picture of our speed, but we're not done correcting just yet. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of airspeed indicators. Let's now dive into equivalent airspeed, or EAS. This is essentially the speed of your aircraft, but with a bit of a twist. You see, EAS is your airspeed corrected for changes in air density at different altitudes. It's like having a conversation at sea level versus having the same conversation atop Mount Everest. The words might be the same, but the effort to speak them changes drastically. In the same way, your aircraft's performance can vary significantly at different altitudes. This is where EAS comes into play. It allows pilots to gauge how their aircraft would perform if they were flying at sea level, giving them a constant benchmark against which to measure their current performance. However, remember that EAS isn't just about altitude. It also takes into account factors like temperature and pressure. So, while it provides a helpful comparison, it's not the be-all and end-all of airspeed. EAS helps pilots understand their performance in different conditions, but it's not the final form of airspeed. Next, we encounter true airspeed, commonly known as TAS. Now, let's delve into what TAS really means. Imagine TAS as the speed of an aircraft relative to the air mass in which it's flying. It's kind of like the speed of a boat in a current. The boat, or in our case the aircraft, has a certain speed, but the current or air mass can affect that speed. It's important to note that TAS is corrected for altitude, temperature, and pressure. Why, you ask? Well, these factors can greatly influence the aircraft's performance. Higher altitudes, where the air is less dense, allow an aircraft to fly faster, while colder temperatures can make the air denser and slow the aircraft down. Pressure, on the other hand, influences how much lift the wings generate. TAS gives pilots the truest sense of their speed through the air, but it's not the speed they'll see on the ground. Because, as we'll see in the next scene, that's where ground speed comes into play. Finally, we arrive at ground speed, or GS. This is the speed of the aircraft relative to the Earth's surface. You can think of it as the speed you'd clock if you were running alongside the plane, not that we recommend trying it. Ground speed differs from airspeed because it considers the influence of wind. A tailwind, for instance, boosts your ground speed without changing your airspeed, while a headwind does the opposite. Why do we care about ground speed? It's all about navigation. When you're plotting a course, you need to know how fast you'll cover ground. not just how quickly you're slicing through the air. This is crucial for estimating arrival times and fuel consumption. Without understanding ground speed, you could find yourself running out of fuel midway or arriving late at your destination. GS is the final piece of the airspeed puzzle, connecting the aircraft's speed in the air to its speed on the ground. Now that we've journeyed through the different types of airspeed, let's tie it all together. We began with indicated airspeed, or IAAS, the speed read directly from the aircraft's airspeed indicator. It's raw, uncorrected, and very much subject to errors caused by atmospheric conditions and instrument discrepancies. Next, we looked at calibrated airspeed CAS, which is essentially IAAS adjusted for instrument and position errors. It's a more accurate measure of speed, but still not quite perfect because it doesn't take into account air density changes. That's where equivalent airspeed, EAS, comes in. EAS is CAS corrected for changes in air density caused by altitude and temperature variations. This is the speed that truly reflects the aerodynamic conditions acting on the aircraft. Then we ventured into true airspeed, TAS. This is the actual speed of the aircraft relative to the surrounding air mass, taking into account temperature and pressure altitude. TAS is your speed in relation to the air particles around you. Finally, we touched on ground speed, GS. This is the speed of the aircraft relative to the ground. It's TAS plus or minus any wind effect. It's the speed you see when you look down at the Earth rushing by beneath you. Each of these types of airspeed has its unique role. They interrelate, they balance, and they contribute to the success of any flight. Understanding these different types of airspeed is crucial for any pilot, from the rookie to the seasoned veteran. We've explored the world of airspeed, but what does this all mean for you? Well, just as a painter appreciates the intricate dynamics of color and a musician grasps the sublime essence of sound, understanding these airspeed concepts enhances your appreciation for the complexity of flight. It's not just about the mechanical roaring of engines or the awe-inspiring sight of a plane soaring through the skies. It's about the delicate dance of physics, the interplay of forces, and the harmony of systems that make flight possible. As we've seen, the indicated airspeed, calibrated airspeed, equivalent airspeed, true airspeed, and ground speed all play pivotal roles in this dance. They are not just numbers on a dial, they are crucial aspects of the pilot's world, guiding their decisions from takeoff to landing. And here's the beautiful part. The world of aviation is not exclusive. It's a realm of knowledge open to anyone with the curiosity to explore it. Whether you're a high school student considering a career in aviation, a retired professional finding a new hobby, or anyone in between, you can delve into these concepts and understand the magic of flight. Perhaps you might even be inspired to take a step further. Maybe you'll find yourself in a flight simulator, feeling the thrill of controlling an aircraft. Or perhaps you'll be standing in a field, flying a model plane, experiencing firsthand the principles we've discussed today. And who knows, maybe one day, you'll be in the cockpit of a real aircraft, with the knowledge of airspeed guiding your journey through the skies. So we encourage you, learn more about aviation, feed your curiosity, embrace the thrill of understanding something new and complex. It's a journey that's as rewarding as it is fascinating. Whether you're an aviation enthusiast or just a curious learner, we hope that this journey through airspeed has been enlightening. Until next time, keep your curiosity flying high